Today's topic: stop punishing, start teaching. And so we're going to talk about why punishing doesn't work and, more importantly, more specifically, what to do instead of punishing as it relates to specifically teaching and using natural consequences. Because, first off, I want to start with, well, why does punishing not work and why do we use it? Basically, I don't know why. Maybe this is just human nature, or maybe this is because, for most of us, we were punished as children. And so we just think, oh, well, that's what you do. You punish someone for, for misbehaving, you punish someone for doing the wrong thing.
It makes sense at a surface level.
Yeah, it does make sense at a surface level. You think, I'm trying to discipline my children. That means if they do something wrong, I correct or punish them. But when you start to dig into it deeper and you start to understand human psychology and you start to have more awareness about yourself and others, you realize that nobody likes being punished. Nobody responds well to punishment.
Actually, this is can I interject for a
Yeah.
second? That's a really great example if you work with animals. Horses, like you'll ruin a horse. You ruin we recently bought a burro, a pregnant donkey, and we're so excited she's going to have a baby soon. And when we got her, the gentleman who brought her over, he's like, "Hey, she's really really sensitive to tone and behavior, and so the way you carry yourself will determine whether she has a relationship with you or not, and if she wants to be around you." Just the way you react. So if something goes wrong, she'll feel and watch your reactions and decide if she's going to be around you or not and allow you around her.
Well, and you saw that even in the first
Yep.
day, because the first day, full day she was there, our female dog that just had puppies was out and was
He
barking
was
at her
barking at her.
because there's this new donkey on the property.
I was correcting her,
And the
and the
donkey
donkey's like, "I'm out.
didn't
Out."
want to interact with Greg because he was correcting our dog in a harsh tone. And
And
so the donkey was, yeah,
walked away. Wouldn't let me touch her.
yeah.
So it's true with dogs and whatever. So every living being, like you think punishment works. If the dog does something bad, I'll punish it. Well, actually, you ruin the dog and you ruin your relationship with the dog. So like positive rewards. Even we went and swam with dolphins. We're like, how do you get these dolphins to do these phenomenal tricks? And even when
Or
they messed up,
seals.
and seals is like we never punish them. We always just reward them for
Of
the
the
things we want them to
positive
do.
behavior.
It's like whoa, whoa. It was so cool.
So, and essentially, if we want to define punishment, it's basically using external control to make someone pay. Punishment is something that someone else does to you, or an outside force forces upon you. That's what punishment is. Like, there's not, because if you want, you could say, there are natural punishments, but if we want to get to the semantics, that's more natural consequences. So, as far as we are defining it, punishment is something that is external, it involves control, it involves force, it involves inflicting something upon our child, whether that's a spanking or a timeout or a other punishments,
Well, some of the
taking things
yeah,
away.
that's some of the most common punishments we see that don't work are the ones that are completely disconnected. So they do something over here and you're like, "Oh, that makes me so mad. I'm taking away your favorite stuffed animal for the rest of your life." You're like, "Whoa, okay, that wasn't related and it's really excessive."
Which we're going to get into.
Rachel would get grounded for months.
Yeah.
You're like, "Wow, what?" Like,
My dad was a grounder. Okay. But so we've defined punishment a little bit here, and we're going to get into the specifics of the things that do work. But I want to start by getting this basic understanding out of the way so that we realize, one, we can begin to recognize, are we using punishments? And the truth is, many of us are, and that's okay. But I want you to recognize that what it is, right? It's punishment. And also at the same time, recognize or realize or become aware that it's not the most effective way to teach, train, and discipline your child. So essentially, if you want the outcomes that I know you guys all want, we can't use punishment.
So,
or it should be used very, very,
right.
very rarely.
So just so we're not misunderstood, we're not saying, never. It should be used sparingly in the most unique circumstances. So that's number one. So it's not a never. It's just, hey, you got to be really careful with it. Because then if you almost never use it and then you occasionally do,
Effective.
it's so effective. But if you're just constantly punishing, they just check out.
Yeah. Well, and sorry.
Well, and then the last point I want to make, and you guys know this, but I want to say it out loud. Our societies believe in punishment. Other parents, like if you don't punish your kid, they're like, well, you're ruining your child. You need to punish your kids. It's like this is this common thing. And you're like, oh, maybe that works. Well, look around. Our prisons are full. Like it doesn't even work in society. And then look around at families. Like if punishment worked, it would
Well,
be amazing. Like everybody would be awesome. All the families would be fantastic. But they're not because it doesn't work.
and the other important side of that coin is that if you look at, if we want to call it the extraordinary families out there, which are rare, they have a common denominator in that they are not punishing children because they're using these approaches that we're going to talk about. Right. So just so we're clear, it's not like Greg and I came up with this and we're like, here, guys, do what we do. We're saying this is what we discovered that works because the best families are using it. In fact, there's this family that whenever I think of like the ideal family, like they're who I think of. I'm like, yes, be like them. Oh, I began learning these things from them. And so that's the important thing we're trying to emphasize as we start this, that if you want extraordinary, you have to use strategies that are different from what everybody else is using. And one of those things is not punishing and instead teaching and using natural consequences. So, just a couple more things of why punishing doesn't work. It teaches avoidance and fear, teaches avoidance, fear, or rebellion. Right? Children will avoid not doing. We think they'll avoid doing the wrong things because they'll get punished, but what they actually avoid is us getting caught. They become afraid of us or they rebel. That's what happens from punishment. It also, of course, damages your relationship with your child because as well intentioned as you may be and as much love as you have, right? As the reasoning behind punishing, and we all instinctively know this, I think. It just damages the relationship. You can't punish and still have your child feel good about you, but you can teach them or allow natural consequences and they can actually still have love and respect for you. Like that's possible. Now, of course,
They
it
actually
doesn't mean,
they actually come to you and they come seeking you out to help co-regulate with the consequences and the pain of their choices.
yeah,
It's
that's true.
amazing. They're drawn towards you instead of creating this gap.
Yes. And now, again, I don't want to be misunderstood. That doesn't mean that we should never do anything or discipline our child in any way that makes them upset with us. That's not the case either, because that's going to happen sometimes. Right. But that's in some ways, that's like them being upset because they stubbed their toe or they fell down and you're upset because it hurts even though you realize, well, that's gravity. Like how can you be upset about gravity? It's just is. That's the kind of difference in upsetness I'm talking about, I guess. Like they still might be mad because we're gravity and they don't like it, but they still get it. Like, okay, it exists. Yeah. Oh, one of the most important things one of the things punishment doesn't do, which is key, is it doesn't create internal responsibility. If you are punishing your child, you are an external force. And again, Greg's talked about this, the automatic response to an external force is resistance. So anytime you're punishing your child, they're actually internally resisting you. And you don't want that. You don't want internal resistance. What you want is internal responsibility. So you remove the punishment, that's like removing the force, the external force, and you give them space to focus on internal responsibility. That's what natural consequences do because you're helping them as a child to become aware of the world and how it works and natural consequences and how they occur so that they can learn to make better internal decisions about how to move through the world. Punishment removes all of that because it becomes a competition, it becomes a tug of war. That's what punishing does. We don't want that. And then, well, and this is
Well,
part of it.
like you said here, then the child learns
Yeah.
to focus on not getting
Yes.
caught.
Instead of
Like the
making better
whole
choices.
focus is like, don't get caught.
Right.
And look around. We have a society absolutely full of people that are doing things and their only motive is don't get caught.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've told you this before, but I'm going to tell it again. Like my dad, I love him. He's passed away. He's been passed away like 23 years ago. He was very much controlling, punishing, and I was the oldest child. And as the like ideal story of what this turns into is it was constantly a tug of war. And so I remember I got in a fight with my dad before school. I went to school and my friend said, "Hey, we're going out back to smoke. Do you want to come with us?" Well, I'd never smoked in my life. I thought smoking was disgusting. I never wanted to smoke. My grandpa smoked. He died of emphysema. But I said, "Yeah, I'll go with you." And I went out and I smoked my first cigarettes, which then led to drugs and alcohol because I was mad at my dad. And I literally sat there thinking, I'm doing this to get back at him. Right. Now, of course, that's stupid because I'm only doing it to myself. But that's the type of thinking that occurs when we focus on punishing rather than on teaching. When we teach, we give space for critical thinking. We give space for intuition. We give space for conscience. But if we have the tug of war going on between parent and child, there's no space for that. And instead, it's reaction, rebellion, defense, and there's no opportunity for that internal responsibility to grow.
What That's what I refer to as the inner compass.
Yes,
We
exactly.
want our children to have an inner compass and have it be very developed, but it stays small and overshadowed when it's just like, I'm trying not to get caught and I'm fighting and resisting. Wouldn't it be amazing if our kids view this role as a partnership, that we're working together to help them become their very best selves? We're not the dictator ready to deliver punishments. We're not the jailer. We're not the police officer. We're actually in a partnership. And the goal is to help them become their very best. And we're working together, not against each other.
Yes, but I do also want to add because I think that it can become confused to some people, and people talk about all the gentle parenting stuff. And I really think it depends on how you define it. But when you're talking about the parent partnership, it is still hierarchical.
Yes.
We are still in charge, and kids need to know that because they need the safety of knowing that we're in charge. We are there to support them, but we're also not going to let them do something that will hurt themselves, right? So there is definitely boundaries there of like, no, that's too far. That will hurt you. That will injure you. That will kill you. I am here to protect you rather than whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm here to support you.